All right, let's get into tonight's agenda, and it was a sorry state of affairs for the Dragons on the weekend, going down to the embattled New Zealand Warriors. They were under all sorts of pressure, the Warriors, but they were magnificent. They downed the Dragons 18 points to 0 at Central Coast Stadium. That loss now puts the Dragons' record at 2 wins from their past 13 outings, with the 2 wins you can see there coming against the struggling Gold Coast Titans. Buzz, this club, this team is in a big hole. Where's it going wrong?
I wrote this morning, no soul, no spirit, and I thought to allow the Warriors to complete 45 out of 47, 97% is unheard of.
Allow them?
Yeah, I think they allowed them and they didn't punish them. The defence was nothing like how the Roosters defend against South. I thought that there was no energy there, Ben.
Yep.
And the Warriors aren't that good a football side. We know they're not that good a football side. Credit to them, but it said a lot about the Dragons' defence as well. Obviously, looking from the outside, they've spent $2 million in halves, in Ben Hunt and Corey Norman, and they're not aiming up. And then from there you go and look at their recruitment setup and you see that Paul McGregor, of all the coaches in the NRL, probably has least say in the players St George signed.
Because he sits on a committee?
I disagree with that, Buzz.
No, well,
because
you're
he's
wrong.
on a retention... Well, hang on. They've got a retention committee.
Yes.
And he's a part of that committee. So when it comes to players like Ben Hunt and like Corey Norman, if you think he doesn't have a say in that,
he
that's
has
wrong.
a say, Jones, but he doesn't have the final say. He has often been overruled in recent years. And he's quite...
So you're saying it's the recruitment team at the Dragons issue, the problems they've got on the field, not Paul McGregor?
The person who made the $1.2 million decision to sign Ben Hunt was Ian Millwood.
Yeah, can I just say this to you, though? Regardless of who made the decision to get Ben Hunt, Ben Hunt is an Australian representative player, playing halfback. That's the coach's job to get him going. It doesn't matter who recruited him. It's the coach's job to get him going.
But when you say...
the coach, Corey Norman's an Origin player. You've got Paul Vaughan out there as an Origin player.
Paul Kenty. He wasn't a $1.2 million player at the Broncos.
That's irrelevant. That's true. I agree with that. But the point is, that side that ran out against the Warriors was a much better side
on paper
than to get beaten the way they did. And in the fair income stakes, if you put any other team out, nearly any other team out against the Dragons, and give them complete sets until the 75th minute, they're scoring more than 3 tries against you. Okay? The Dragons were lucky they played the Warriors. The only other side they would have got, it would have kept it that tight, was probably the Titans. Every other, you put the Raiders and give the Raiders 75 minutes without a mistake, they'd put 60 on this Dragons team.
But what I'm saying, Kenty, is if your coach doesn't have the major say in recruitment, you'd take away accountability.
I'd agree with that if you had a dud roster.
With respect, I think it's a throw-off, and I think it's a cop-out if we're going to point fingers at the Dragons' recruitment department as the reason for the performance that they've turned up.
Well, what about...
Buzz, we've had review after review. They did a review after 2017.
But they didn't review the coach,
They shook all the deck. They did.
Oh, yeah.
After 2017, they did.
Phil Good reviewed the coach last year.
Gus reviewed everyone but the coach.
Yeah, that's last year. What about the one in 2017? Well, in 2017, he was reviewed. And they backed him in. And at the beginning of 2018, he said,
him for 2 years.
I've got the roster I want. This is the roster I want. Now, that year, they make the finals. And they beat the Broncos. They led the comp for a lot of that year.
I disagree he had the roster he wanted, because I can clearly remember Ian Millwood and Mary McGregor having a blow-up over Josh Dugan and what he was worth. And you can...
And they
one
let him
said
go.
he was a winger, one said...
They've dodged a bullet by letting him go.
Yeah, but who made that decision? That doesn't matter whether they dodged a bullet. It was Ian Millwood made the decision, not the coach.
Well, that's a good decision.
But Buzz, it's up to Millwood to know the philosophy of the coach and recruit those types of players. And from every conversation I've had with Millwood and with Paul McGregor, I've never sensed that there's a problem with each other about the way they're attacking the team.
And the other
I've sensed that, sorry Ben, but I've sensed that they're generally on the same page. There's a little bit, obviously, difference of opinions and things, but there's never, I don't understand there's ever been an issue. And look, we all like Paul McGregor and we all want to see him succeed. But to sit there and say, well, he hasn't got the team he wants, when they trotted out a team with so many rep players in it on the weekend, and whether it doesn't, it's irrelevant how much. Does Wayne
Bennett get the team he wants? Does Craig Bellamy, Des Hasman, all these guys? Do they get the team? I'm asking you.
No, they do. But Frank Panisi at Melbourne is the general manager of football, and primarily he and Paul Bunn look after all the recruitment. Bellyache's involved.
They do not sign anyone without him.